Good morning, everyone. It's time for that Sunday morning, early morning video broadcast. There we go. Yes, sirree. It's a nice wet day in Michigan. Should have mowed yesterday. Thought it was going to be sunny. Oh well, now there goes the yard. First off, let's just start with an update on my contest. I posted that contest, I believe it was Tuesday, my 200 sub contest, and I've had some nice responses. I mean, they've been really interesting. I've really gotten to know a lot of people a lot better. And first off, just a clarification, remember, these are songs that make you happy. It doesn't have to be a happy song. It could be a song about the end of the world, but that song about the end of the world makes you happy, then it's your happy song. Put it on. That's okay, all right? Just to make it easy. So far, I've had entrants. The entries have been from Mark, Halloween Fan, Appetite for Records, Andre from Linda Legg, Ron from Mind Over Metal, Jeff McCormick, Mr. Finglish, Bad English Rec, Jason at Hackman377, Luke Sion, Jeff from Tone and Grooves, and Michigan Record Club. I have Bill. So those are my 10 entries I've had so far. If I missed you, just let me know. Otherwise, please feel free to check it out and check out the responses, because what's interesting is you learn about these people. I mean, they have some really great stories, each and every one of them. Great stories about what music means to them, so I think you'll like it. All right, in the background today we're playing the Velvet Underground Loaded. Look at that, it kind of shiny and goes. This was the deluxe edition that came out. Huge fan of these guys. Have a little story we'll talk a little bit later about the Velvet Underground. Really like that Loaded though. You know, they were really getting into their own on this, and then it all ended. It's the way it is. It's the way it goes, right? So there is a lot of vinyl today. I apologize. Remember last week I bragged about I hadn't bought anything? Well, I guess I made up for it this week. So, here we go. First, Clutch. This came out in September of this year. Steve, that's a new album. You're right. I do try to buy new. This has really been up in the Michigan market. There's been a lot of talk about this. We have our own Michigan site up here, and everyone's really been enjoying this album. And it's hard rock, but it's really this is really interesting. It's hard rock. It's done with urgency. It's done with some anger in there, and they bring in horns. I mean, I'm a horn guy, okay? I love horns because it adds funk to it, and there is a sense of funk to this, especially on the very first album, side 1 on there. It's in Coke bottle. You know, Clutch, they formed in 1991, and it was in Maryland, and they kind of say they're out of Fredericksburg, Maryland. This is their 12th album that they've made. It's the first one I've ever had from them. So, you know, they were originally, oh gosh, what were they called? Gosh darn it. You know, there we go. I kind of forget. Gosh. Oh well, doesn't matter. Glut Trip. I think Glut Trip was their first name. Great album. Really, you know, this is very, again, if you like hard rock and you haven't listened to this album, give this thing a try. The fact that it has edge to it made it really nice. So it's called Book of Bold Decisions. The Book of Bold Decisions by Clutch. Axe, Eagle. That just kind of tells you there the intensity that's on that album. So very nice, very nice. All right, I continue with my Guess Who. You know, every week I've been showing 2 Guess Who albums. I got some more Guess Who. This one, Share the Land. This was their 7th album. It came out in 1970. Keep it in 1970 to Guess Who's 7th album already. This was the first one they did without Randy Bachman. And they have on the front, you can see they have this American Indian, and they'd ask Bert Cummings, they go, hey, who is that Indian on the front? Is that someone that you know? And his response was, no, that's called central casting. So, hey, they look like they're all good friends. They don't even know each other. One of the hits on this was Share the Land. And Share the Land became a song for the drug campaign on TV. So they were using that for anti-drugs. They'd asked Cummings about the song Share the Land, and he said he wrote it because he had a really bad sunburn. Yeah. You ask them other people, and they go, no, the guy had a really bad acid trip, and he wrote that song. So, I mean, it is an anti-drug song, or is it an anti-sunburn song? You make that decision. But 1970, great listen to it. Again, Randy Bachman wasn't on this album. That was the first one. Then I bought this one, Guess Who, live at the Paramount. And oh, one thing on this one, I'm sorry. This one here, it's kind of buried in there. It's the first album made that they had, and the Dynaflex came out. So, you know, those albums that you can fold, and the advertising on Dynaflex was, it's the album that you can fold in half, and it bounces back. What? Who cares if you can fold an album? Like, someone wants to just fold an album in half. What's the purpose of that? That's how they were announcing it. You can fold it in half. All right, there you go. So Dynaflex, 1970. There we go. The Guess Who, live at Paramount. This was their first live album they did, and they didn't do another live album until 1983. Really nice rockin' album. They do this really long version of American Woman. You know, it starts off really slow for a couple minutes, and then it just cranks into the song. And after that one, they do Truckin' Across the Sky, and it just all flows. It wasn't like it was filled with tons of their hits. There was just so much good stuff on here. A lot of power. If you enjoy live albums, this was a really good one, just for that American Woman version in itself. That's the second side. Powerful. I totally enjoyed that one. All right, we have Son of Cactus. Son of Cactus. So you must say, well, there was Cactus, and Cactus had a baby, and they came up with the Son of Cactus. And actually, the name of the album is called The New Cactus Band. And this was, I'm trying to get, Dwayne Hitching. Dwayne Hitching formed this band. Hitching joined Cactus in 1972, in time for their very last album, Hot and Sweaty. Cactus disbanded in 1972, so Dwayne was on one album. But he liked it so much, or he was trying to keep the money going, so he formed the New Cactus Band, and they made Son of Cactus. Son of Cactus wasn't that great. It went to number 183 on the charts, and then it tanked. And that was the end of the New Cactus Band. It's, you know, it was a blind buy. I just saw it. I saw the Cactus. I, well, let's see what they did afterwards. This was one of these failed experiments that you can't create something good. It wasn't even really country rock. They were trying to rock. All right. Velvet Underground. This was 1974. This is live recordings. What's sad when you think about the Velvet Underground is during their heyday, there's no really good live recordings. There's a lot of bootlegs. So back in 1969, they had a sound engineer company, had a reel-to-reel, and asked if he could record them. He says, yeah, sure, go ahead and do it. It was in Dallas. Then they went to another gig where there was a recording thing hooked up to the sound system, and so they used that one. So they recorded that. So they recorded a second time. So the recordings on this are excellent. I mean, they really sound good. This is Velvet Underground at their best. They have a groove going on in here. And though it's a shame they never had any great recordings when they had John Cale, you know, Doug Yule does good. And they have this organ that adds this funky beat beneath it. And when they start to jam, it's incredible. Blown away by this album. I remember seeing this in cutout bins. I mean, look, it has, I mean, it was a cutout. This one too, it has a punch out there. And you know, Velvet Underground was taking off at this time. People were coming to their concerts and enjoying it because they were very listenable. Little story. I got into the Velvet Underground in the mid '80s. I'd moved to Waterloo, Iowa. My job took me there, and next to Waterloo there was the University of Northern Iowa, and they had this small record store that I went to. And you know, they had a couple people, and one of the guys there really helped expand my horizons, and he pushed me into the Velvet Underground. You know, and you started Velvet Underground, Nico. Then you went to, you know, the various other ones, Velvet Underground, White Lightning. It was fascinating. I began buying their albums back then. And the owner, she was a great lady. She's probably in her mid-30s. I was in my mid-20s. And here's what I remember. All right, now, okay, so this sounds pathetic, but she had this glass counter where the register was at. On the bottom of the glass counter, it was all mirrored the whole way across. She liked to wear short dresses. She liked to stand by the counter. Mirrors, short dresses. Well, let's say I spent a lot of time in that record store and bought a hell of a lot of music. I think that's sex sells. And I don't know, it might have been part of her advertising technique. I don't know. Well, I would say it worked. She got a lot of my money. But besides that, it was a great record store, and I really got into a lot of types of music because of the people at the record store. When you have a good record store, you have folks that care and are interested in you and your pocketbook and want to expand your horizons. It makes it a lot of fun. So I always appreciate that. Incredible album. I have been playing the heck out of this thing. Totally love it. It's one of these that, yeah, I just think it's beautiful. So great live recordings of Velvet Underground. If you haven't, if you don't know, I most know Velvet Underground. If you don't, boy, that's a good album. I had this in CD. This is David Gilmour, 1978. This was his first solo outing that he had. Beautiful album. You know, he did another one about Face, not nearly as good as this. Here he has his guitar work really going. Really sounds nice on there. Nothing special on the label, just Columbia. If you love David Gilmour's guitar and you have a choice and you're looking at solos, this is the one to get. His guitar is beautiful in there. His singing's beautiful. It's a little more Floydian. It's kind of like Freudian, but in a musical way. So wonderful listen. Then we had, oh look at that, I got that. This is a Canadian pressing of Foreigner's Head Games. Okay. This was their third album that they made. It came out in 1979. Thing is, this one sold 2 million less than their last album, Double Vision. Of course, sold less than the first one. Mick Jones, when he was going to start this band, okay, I'm trying to think of, he was going to call the band Trigger, and so he did this demo tape, and on the demo tape he wrote Trigger. The record company gets it, likes it, then they do some research and go, oh man, Trigger's been used. You can't call it your band Trigger. Well, what should I do? Well, there's 3 Americans, 3 Englishmen, so I'll call it Foreigner. And ta-da, there it is, from Trigger to Foreigner. This one, again, you know, I didn't do it. It has Dirty White Boy on there and Head Games. Also, it had, let's see, I thought there was another good one on there. Probably is. You know, I never bought it. This is the first time I had it. I had the first 2. When this one came out, actually, the artwork on the front, I just thought was kind of disturbing. Oh, what, that's a woman in a men's restroom, and she looks kind of frantic. It bothered me. I mean, this album cover bothered me, and I didn't buy it. I buy a lot of records because of album covers. But I don't buy records sometimes because of album covers. If I find it was kind of, you know, I didn't get it or offensive or whatever, and this one just bugged me. So I never bought it. Now I own it. I got over it. Still bothers me. Good music. Duran Duran Rio. Just got this one. I never owned Duran Duran. You know, when I was in the 80s, and this one came out in 82. Duran Duran, actually, there was a French movie called Barbarossa. I believe it was 78, 77. Duran Duran started in 1978, actually. Well, Barbarossa came out, and there was this character, Dr. Duran Duran, ending with 2 D's. They liked that movie. They liked that name, Dr. Duran Duran, so they called their group Duran Duran. There you have it. All right, and they were part of the new romantic movement when they started. You know, everyone likes to label music. What are you? So they're throwing in with Spandau Ballet, Visage, and then, you know, this album came out, and it wasn't doing that great in the U.S. So the marketing department goes, what should we do? What should we do? How are we going to market this baby? So instead of calling them New Romantic, they said dance. It's more of a dance band. That and MTV, of course, there's the label on there. MTV took off with their videos then. These were 4 extremely good-looking guys. Oh, was there 5? I don't think 4 of them. They were made, I mean, these guys they were made for the screen, shall we say. You know, kind of like myself, made for the screen. And so, I mean, they took off. For me, I was buying a lot of other music. This was teeny bopper music. This was all the girls, you know, going to kind of, screaming, 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 and all that. Oh, for God's sake. So, it wasn't for me. I'm in my very early 20s now. I just forget that stuff. Give me something else, something more alternative. But it's grown on me. And it took me a long time to find this. I looked forever for this. Finally, at my local record store, got it in. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't like the music eventually anyway, but man, at the start, I couldn't. Here's another. You know, you want a grail? You want a grail? Some of us, our grails aren't as big as other grails. Tone Loc After Dark. I had this on one of my pirated cassettes that I had many years ago, and so it was on that, but not a great recording. So I've been looking for this. It's been on my list. I mean, Funky Cold Medina on there, and Wild Thing. Classics. But what's really neat is when you listen to the sampling. He had such cool sampling going on. You heard some Earth, Wind and Fire, some Barry White. It's all over the place on there. So I've just been enjoying listening to that. I go, aha, I know that song. Yeah, and so I was at this record store in Pittsburgh. It's a gigantic record store. I posted some pictures in the YouTube vinyl community. And I'm looking for this, and I can't find it. And I finally find the single for Wild Thing, and I'm selling for that. I looked all over. Well, back they had a listening station where I had a couple of albums I was going to go back to listen to. So I go back there, and sitting in the front was Tone Loc After Dark. I don't know how I missed it, but I did. And there it was, right in front. The God said, Steve, you deserve this one, and I have it, and I'm loving it. I am loving it. It's part of your life. All right, so here we got Chet Faker. Chet Faker, and this is called Thinking in Textures. Oh, it's on black vinyl. Okay, you don't see black vinyl you don't see black vinyl very much. Everything has color now. All right, Chet Faker, his real name is Nick Murphy, and he's born 1988. Young guy, really young guy. And Chet Faker, you may not, if you can try to guess who his favorite person was. Chet Baker. So instead of calling himself Nick Murphy, which was his name, he said, no, I like Chet Baker. I'm going to go with Chet Faker. So there you have it, Chet Faker. In 2016, he went back now and calls himself Nick Murphy. This song had a hit that went viral on YouTube, No Diggity. So they took that song, was it Boys to Men? Are they the one that did Backstreet Boys? Not clear on that, but they did No Diggity. So he went and he did No Diggity, and it really did well. So this album came out, was it, you know, you would think you would have that kind of stuff memorized on there. I keep trying to think, 2014, 2015. It was a good listen. Is it, you know, is it a phenomenal album you want to play over and over? Probably not. a little quieter. You know, nothing like hard rock or anything, but it was different. You know, he's from Australia, and so it's Australian music. Dean, I bought Australian music. All right, so Chet Faker, really name is Nick Murphy. So if you see anything with Nick Murphy, it's Chet Faker, not Chet Baker. Bought this. This is the soundtrack to The Deep, and blue vinyl. Pretty cool on there. It's a promo copy also, and it had a poster. So this came out in 1977. You know, why did I buy The Deep? Was it a great movie? I did see The Deep. Did I ever see it again? No. I saw it once. I never even bought it in VHS. So Jacqueline Bisset was in it, and they gave her a white swimsuit. The white swimsuit, shall we say, was very revealing, but they gave you a really deep poster on that does not have Jacqueline Bisset in her swimsuit. What caught my attention is on side 1, it is they have a song called Return to the Sea, 2033 AD. So the whole thing's on side 1, and it's a ballet based on the movie score of The Deep. So, you know, we didn't put the movie score on there, but we put a ballet that was based on the movie score. And side 2 just had the songs, more of the movie score. Donna Summer made some of the songs on side 2. Different listen. You know, soundtracks are always fun. Beth at B-Side Records, see, I bought a soundtrack, and it is not Grease. All right, how about some jazz? This is Art Blakey and Jazz Misters, Big Beat. This came out in 1960. This is a 1985 reissue that Blue Note was doing. They did a bunch of these. They also come out with posters, which I've shown on there before. Had a nice groove to this thing. It had on here, it had Lee Morgan was on trumpet, Wayne Shorter on tenor sax, Bobby Timmons was playing piano, Art Blakey on drums, and Merritt was on bass. Fun listen. I mean, I really like the Jazz Messengers. I always thought they had a great beat. Wayne Shorter, you know, he really played all over the place. You know, he went to, he's born in 33. He went to college. After college, he came out. He got put into the Army. He was part of an Army band. Came out of there. Maynard Ferguson had a band, so he began to play for Maynard Ferguson. He was Maynard Ferguson's sax player. Actually, and Shorter's first instrument was the clarinet. Thank God he decided clarinet sucks. I'm going to go to sax. So he's playing with Maynard Ferguson. Art Blakey sees it. Art Blakey goes, "Hey man, come join my band." So he went and joined Art Blakey's band. He played with Art Blakey till 1963. Then Miles Davis sees him and says, "Hey man, come play with my band." And so he went and began playing with Miles Davis through the 60s. Then in 1970, I believe, 71, a keyboardist that he had played with Maynard Ferguson's band, Joe Sonnell, man, I cannot say that man's name. He was forming a band, Weather Report, and Wayne Shorter goes, so Joe goes, "Hey man, come join my band." So he went and joined Weather Report that he played with into the 80s. So there you go, Wayne Shorter. Everyone goes, "Hey man, come play with my band," and away he goes. So great album though. This is a fun listen. You know, you never go wrong with Art Blakey. For those, again, I always say, if you don't know a lot about jazz, if you want to put your toes into jazz, there's some great 50s, 60s stuff. There's bebop stuff, really nice listening. It's not complicated. It's great listening and relaxing. Not this one. This came out in 1974. It was just Prestige went back and was repackaging, working, and steaming. Miles Davis did 4 albums for Prestige, and this was Working and Steaming were 2 of them. There was Cooking and Relaxing were the other ones. It's off Prestige Records there. Just again, it's Miles from 1956. I'm fortunate I got a complete box set of everything he put on Prestige. That's really, really good. Just nice. I don't have those in vinyl. If I do find them in vinyl, they're going to be super expensive. Live Evil. Here's another one. Okay. I believe 1971 on this thing. Quite the artwork, isn't it? This is half live, half done in the studio. He did it in the live was at the Cellar Door. There's a great box set on that one. That's really neat. I really enjoy that box set also. Off Columbia, nothing special. On the artwork, he says, I want to have something that is about good and about life, and I want to have artwork that's about evil. So that's why. Happy, sad, good, bad. This one too, you know, Davis really was getting into Latin grooves, and the percussion is incredible in this thing. This thing grooves, it rocks, it's shorter songs, it's not as long. And it just has this beat and it just keeps going and going. I absolutely love this album. Love it. It's just, to me, one of my favorite Miles albums of that period. And you know, it's one that I can listen to over and over again, live even if you don't have it. All right, Travis Biggs, Challenge. This is a guy, a jazz musician, a guitarist, plays funk soul with his jazz. Kind of a rare album that I bought. Big in Detroit, even has an autograph on there. And so it's just a fun listen. There's a little bit of singing, which I don't appreciate as much. I like to hear the instrumentation. So Travis Biggs, you can check him out. You can find him on YouTube and give a listen to what he sounds like. I think this is his only album. Enjoyable. I bought Piano Rags from Scott Joplin. Why? Because it's Scott Joplin. It's called History, folks. History. This guy was very important. You know, he does his rags and all that on there, but there we have it. All right, the next albums are all 33 cents, so we'll go through these except for one fairly quick. Yes, I buy 33-cent albums if I see if there's something I like. I just want to talk about this one, the Weather Report, Sweet Nighter. This is really roached cover, but the vinyl's good, but the cover is just in bad shape. This is a phenomenal Weather Report album. My goodness. I don't have a lot of Weather Report, and I kind of just, do I like them? Do I not like them? And I've never been super big on them until this album. Weather Report got into the Latin grooves, and they really began. So this is a groove record. It's all about the groove on this thing, and there's just this wonderful, the rhythm section is fantastic on there. Frank Shorter doesn't play as much. He's pushed back a little bit, and they bring in the rhythm more. Incredibly good album. I am going to look for a great copy of this. I really need to find a really nice copy because I was blown away by this thing. Favorite Weather Report album for me, Sweet Nighter. This one, upon another Weather Report, this came out in 76. Mr. Gone, Jaco Pastorius was the bass on here. That's probably the best part of it. His bass is awesome, but not nearly as good as the other albums. It's 33 cents, folks. Got a 12-inch from the Wonder Stuff. We talked about these. They're out of England on there. Just an EP on some hit that didn't do well in the United States. Maybe it did well in England. Another 12-inch, The Weathermen. Bang. What can I tell you about the Weathermen? Can't think of it. There's something I know about them, but I can't think of it. Just a 12-inch Bang. Late 80s, I believe 1989 on this sucker. Made in Canada, so I got an Air Canadian one. 33 cents Radio. This was Ray Parker and Radio. Two places in the same time. I liked Radio Ray Parker. This was, I believe, the third, but they're just beginning to kind of all sound the same. Sheena Easton. I own no Sheena Easton. Never really wanted it. It was 33 cents. Gave it a try. Kind of disposable. And the last one, Boz Scaggs, My Time. This one I've been looking for. I need to find a better copy. It had Dynaflow on there. I like Boz Scaggs. I thought he made some really great music. This kind of got him up and going, and I have Dynaflow. So wonderful, wonderful album. All right. Wow. All right. That's my longest video. Super apologies. Record Store Day shirt from Elk Rev. This is from Elk City Records in Charleston, West Virginia. He was nice enough to give me that. I was nice enough to give him a lot of money. Thank you for taking so much time to watch. That was a lot of stuff. Wow. But I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that's subbing. Really, it's been fun. This is great. Look at my contest. Enter it. It's all about what makes you happy, not about what makes me happy. What songs really turn you on. Appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great week. Thank you for your Sunday show. Hope you had a great breakfast. Hope your cup of coffee was good. Thank you for my subscribers. 216, really neat, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Everyone have a fantastic week, okay?